All right. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to this session on custom launch data in Content Controller. My name is Stephen Kalnoske, and I am a principal developer and engineer at RustC Software. Caveat, though, I am very much a baby Rustacean here. I've been here since July, but before that, I spent almost 10 years at the SANS Institute, which is a cybersecurity training company doing innovation, generative AI, and working a lot with Content Controller. I was lucky enough to been when Content Controller was still version it's like 0.1 when it was first being built. And it's really been fun to see the evolution of all the features that have gone into Content Controller and being kind of like the first to roll these out and to get to play with them. So today's session, custom launch data, is very, very near and dear to my heart. I love this feature. I think it's one of the most powerful, cool features about Content Controller. So let's get into it. So just to establish a little lore here, pretend, or you might not even have to pretend, but you're a learning developer. You work at a company that sells learning courses. You have a lot of clients, or you have a big distribution of different groups that consume your learning courses from Content Controller. So you have all these courses sitting in Content Controller. You dispatch them to accounts, you dispatch them out to LMSs, but they're all based on kind of like the same template. One day, you get a message from a client, a customer, internal person saying like, these courses are great, but what would really make these courses better if our logo was in the course, or a special phrase that we use is in the course. And you say, sure, I'll just go ahead and make another package, put that on there, and we can just put it in your account, dispatch that out, and boom. You got a special course that has customer's logo in it. They're happy and thrilled. Then another customer comes in and, well, we want a lead-in page with our CEO doing an introduction, or we want colors, our own brand colors, or we want different quiz questions. And as these multiply, all of a sudden, instead of one base course that everybody gets, now you have 50 of the almost same version of the course with just like little modifications for every customer. You can see how this will not scale well. Your life is now creating and maintaining custom bespoke content, and really custom bespoke content at not a custom bespoke price. And so this is kind of like what custom launch data in Content Controller is meant to solve and fix for you. So a little bit more of a deep dive. What is custom launch data? This is a per account course. So every account which has a course in it, you can do it by course. It's an endpoint that gets sent to your course that you make via URL parameter. And this sounds super, super like, what's going on here, but I have a couple examples that show this really well. When your course launches up after it's been launched through Content Controller is going to send it a URL. And that course can go and fetch whatever is in that URL, which is data that you provide. And then the course can actually use that data that you provide inside Content Controller at launch to kind of configure the course on the fly at launch. That means, no versioning, no re-uploading of the course is needed. It just reads this right when it launches, and it works really well. The course calls the endpoint at launch, pulls down the custom data, and then the course can use the custom data in the course. And there's a support page on the website. Joe Donnelly wrote this nice write-up of using custom launch data in Content Controller. This link to this page we'll get in the chat there. And then you can see when CC launches a course, there's going to be this parameter at the end of the URL that it's launching. The CP equals this endpoint. And when you make a GET request from your course to this endpoint, you're going to get data. And that data is represented as like a little JSON body right there with custom param equals what you put in there. So from there, let's go through like a real world example. So meet Doug. Doug is the owner of Air Wing Software. They sell aircraft learning simulations and resources around aircraft. Doug has clients that include private pilot schools and major airlines. And so we're going to go, and he's in his office right now, and he gets, two new clients. Woohoo. He's really excited about the two new clients that are buying his simulation software because they want to train their pilots on how to fly planes. He's got three different planes that they can fly. But now he's worried that he has to upload two different versions of this course for each client because, you have a big major airline that wants a version of their course, but also he's selling different packages of this course. Like, a small private airline might only need one plane that they're training on. A big major airline might need all the planes. He wants to differentiate his course and sell his course by the amount of planes in the software, but also not to upload, n different iterations of the same course. So he has this great idea to use custom launch data in his courses. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at Air Wings Flight Simulator. So I have in my content controller here, content already set up. We have the Air Wings Simulator. It's just a flight training course. And then we have some materials that he also gives out. Like, we have the puddle hopper is like, the little single engine prop. We have a flight manual for the puddle hopper. And in the accounts, we have two customers that we're selling to. We have Everywhere in the World Airlines, which flies all the planes. And then we have Sarah's Flight School, which flies only the propeller plane right now. So in Everywhere in the World Airlines, you can see that they have Air Wing Simulator flight training course. And also in Sarah's Flight School, you can see the same exact course is in there from our content library. Remember, we only have one iteration of that course. So let's go ahead and look in and see how it looks in LMS, which is Storm Cloud here. I'm going to go to the Everywhere in the World Airlines course here first. So I will go ahead and launch this dispatch, make it bigger so it can be seen. It's going to load up. Here we go. So our flight simulator has loaded up. And as you can see in here, we have access to three different planes. We have the Bleed Air 179 jet. We have the Puddle Hopper Mark 7, and we have the big one, the Air Freight 4000. So you can go in through here and you can see live little flight simulator. We can move our plane up and down. We have some icons that we can catch for flight training, or we're going to grab a storm cloud up there, little rusty C engine. We've got some nice views of Nashville everywhere. And so, yeah, nice little flight simulator that teaches pilots how to fly. We can go through here and we can select, here's the puddle hopper, same thing, flying through the AT&T building, collecting icons, working really well. So this is perfect for this big multinational airline. They can come in here, their pilots can choose a plane and do the flight simulator. So now let's go to Sarah's Flight School. This is going to load up. It's a little slow right now. So Sarah's Flight School, you'll notice, has the same exact thing as big multinational corporation flight school. We have all three planes here available to us, but they really only need the Puddle Hopper Mark 7. And frankly, they only paid for the Puddle Hopper Mark 7 simulation here. So how can we, go and tailor this course just for them so that they only get the Puddle Hopper and not any of these other planes? Well, in Content Controller, we can go and we can use custom launch data. So I'm going to go back to Content Controller here. And we're going to go into Accounts, and then Sarah's Flight School. And then I'm going to select their flight simulator, and then I'm going to go in the Advanced tab right here. This is where we can enter the custom launch data to go ahead and do this course. And so I'm going to launch this. I'm going to go allowed planes. equals, and then I'm just going to say they're only getting the prop. So once I update that, that's been saved in there. And remember, there's no versioning, there's no re-uploading the course. I can go back in here, and when I launch this, when I get to the splash screen, notice that the other two airplanes have now disappeared, and we only get the Puddle Harper Mark 7. So we've just easily, with that little custom launch data, and the custom launch data has to work with your course. This not a a magic thing where the course just figures it out. You have to program, look for that custom launch data in the course, and then modify the course based on that. But you can also work it so it's a dynamic thing. If there's no custom launch data, it works just out of the box. If there is custom launch data, then you can modify the course on the fly per launch. Like they on their side didn't have to re-upload anything either. And then afterwards, Sarah's Flight School might hey, they have Nathan Fielder there now, so they're flying jets. So we want to upgrade them to the next jet. So all we have to do is go in here, add jet to the custom launch data. And when I launch this, now we have the Bleed Air jet. We're still missing the big jumbo jet and everything like that, but this is a really, really easy way to go in and modify courses on the fly like this, and really scale it by customer, by course. So looking inside Content Controller again, this is a by course thing. Like the custom launch data for the Air Wings Flight Simulator is not the custom launch data for the Puddle Hopper Flight Manual. And so as you can see, this course in here, the flight simulator and everything, this is like a very bespoke kind of course where I went in here and I almost handcrafted this game in there and everything like that. So I'm going to show you now something that you can do just kind of like in a normal kind of like Articulate Storyline or Adobe Captivate kind of course. And that is coming over here. And you notice that we have this Puddle Hopper flight manual. And so we're going to go in here, and this is a Captivate, or sorry, not a Captivate course, but a Storyline course that I made. And as soon as this loads up, I'm using my little baby dev instance of Content Controller. But as soon as this loads up, you can see the traditional Storyline loading right here. It's going to have, the Puddle Hopper flight manual right there. And so as soon as we go through here, it's going to get us to the actual training. This is starting the engine, move the throttle to full position, and, press the start button. Well, we have the start button right there. So we'll go ahead and press that start button. And then that's going to go ahead and send us our completion back to the LMS. And so after that, we can close this course. We can see that we got completed through the storyline, everything like that. But for Sarah's Flight School, they want kind of like an introduction of welcome to Sarah's Flight School. If they have any questions, here's some contact information for you. So let's go back into Content Controller. We're going to go to the Puddle Hopper flight manual right here, and then again, custom launch data. And then this, I can just I've set this course up where I can say, welcome to Sarah's Flight School. You are about to embark on a great journey. For any questions, call us at 555-555-5555. And let's go ahead and update that. So now that we have that piece of custom launch data in Content Controller, we're going to go back to Storm Cloud. I'm going to reset the progress here because we got a completion. And then let's launch it. Okay, so now we're back at the front page, just like we were before. But now, when I press the next button here, Now we are at this kind of like interstitial page before the actual training. So it saw that there was custom launch data. It saw that there was actually text in that custom launch data. And now we have this kind of like preamble that we can dynamically use based on whether there's custom launch data or not, to give this little welcome message to the students. So everything that I typed in that box appears here. And then from here, we just go through as usual. It's going to go to the next slide. And then from there, we can complete the course. So really, that's a couple examples of how custom launch data can really help you navigate, or really help you customize the course without making a billion different iterations of the course as you go through here. So I have the Captivate project, sorry, the Storyline project here as well. So just to walk through a little bit, if you're familiar with Storyline, of how I did this. So we have this, a front page here. We have this next button here. And so the first thing I did is I just set some JavaScript. Now, in using custom launch data, it is really hard not to have JavaScript in your courses. One of the prerequisites of using custom launch data is that you kind of have to have control of your courses and how you're creating them. But really, a couple years ago, I would say, like, go ahead and learn some JavaScript. Now, just ask ChatGPT. I just ChatGPT'd this. It did it perfectly. It gave me the script to put in here. It does this really well. So we just have a couple functions that, it grabs the window URL, it's parsing things. And then in the actual course, I have just a couple variables. I have the custom data is loaded, just a true or false variable. This controls if the custom data is still loading, like the network request is slow or something like that. I don't want that arrow to be popping up in the course until it's completed loading. And then the intro text. The intro text is a variable. It's blank by default, but this is where I can put in the actual text that we put in custom launch data. So this is a variable, it reads it. And in this JavaScript that I had open here, you can see that it's pulling down some stuff, and then it's setting these variables like intro text to the data that we get from custom launch data. And then at the end, after everything is done, we're setting the variable inside Storyline for custom data loaded is true. So after that, it's really just a flow. Like, if there's custom launch data, then go to this slide and display that. If not, bypass that and go to the actual training. So this is a really kind of like quick and dirty way to fire up Articulate Storyline, or this works really well in Captivate, Adobe Captivate as well. Any authoring tool where you can actually insert JavaScript into the courses, you can work with custom launch data. Custom launch data requires that you have to have a little bit of JavaScript to pull down that URL, and then go from there. So, and then also, if we go back to custom launch data, if I just put gobbledygook in this, allow plans, projects, even if I had malformed custom launch data, remember that the course is looking for specific things that you ahead of time go ahead and set. So, in Sarah's Flight School, if it doesn't see that, there's planes allowed in there, then you kind of like you're getting a little off track. So the custom launch data has to be very much in sync on both sides, the course side and the content controller side. So, we didn't put any real allowed planes. So the course is just saying, hey, I didn't get anything to filter. So therefore, you're going to get all the planes. So you kind of really have to develop in tandem. Content controller works in tandem with your courseware to kind of get this effect. So in a nutshell, that is custom launch data in practice and real world usage. Glad the live demos did not blow up. So from that, what are the possible applications of custom launch data that we've seen? You can vary the number of quiz questions in your course. Custom logos, I've done a lot where a client wants their own logo in there. So you just take the logo, you base 64 encode it, you stick that in custom launch data, and then boom, you replace the logo in your courseware when the course loads up. Anything around branding and colors, any kind of like custom CSS that they have, as long as you put it in custom launch data, it can be read. And any format works in custom launch data too. You saw that I was just putting in straight text or like these little JavaScript arrays, but if you put JSON objects, if you put YAML, you can put any kind of thing as long as your course knows how to read that custom launch data. You can put anything in there. Um, I've seen a lot of people do mastery, the mastery score of the course. Like, if one is a 80% mastery, another might be 70% mastery. You can pick and choose per client. And then lead-in pages, you saw a lot of clients like footer text, putting like their little, for help, contact the IT desk or, this phone number. And even video trimming, like, we have like a lot of, or people have a lot of videos where clients will come back and say, like, this video is perfect, like, about, password policies at their work, but there's a little bit about password managers. And we would really like it because we don't use password managers for that to be left out. You can send in video trimming to say, like, for that client, skip that part of the video and then move on. So I see a couple questions. How do you send the logo at the account level course? So um, for the logo, you have to do it course by course. So, again, this is only by course and not at the account level. So if you have, 15 or 20 or, 100 courses in here, you have to do custom launch data for each one of those. Now, custom launch data is also writable via the API. So if you have API access to Content Controller and know how to use the API, you can kind of like set this en masse based on the custom launch data that you're feeding into the API for each course. So if you have a customer that wants their logo in every single course, you can easily do that via the API or any other kind of launch parameters like mastery scores, anything like that. Even if there's a quiz or not, some customers like quizzes at the end. Some customers just want the content and no quiz. So really, you can do long story TLDR. You can do anything with custom launch data and your course as long as your course knows how to read the custom launch data that you're putting in it. So to wrap up, again, this is one of my favorite features of Content Controller. It's really cool to use. It's really powerful. We have a resource in here that kind of walks you through how to put the URL and a little code on showing you how to pull down the custom launch data in there. And then from there, I'm happy to take, well, let me officially get to my question slide. I'm happy to take any questions on this. So what parameters are needed to build into the source course in order for this to work in CLD? What would be CLD? Oh, yeah. So custom launched data would need to work on different accounts. You can vary custom launch data by account. So custom launch data for Sarah's flight school would be completely different than custom launch data for big multinational airline. And custom launch data would be completely different by course in each one of those things. So you have an example of like you discussed in the beginning about adding a logo or where you can pass in a CEO's message. Yes, in that Captivate example, I think we covered that, just that interstitial page beforehand where you can dynamically show it based on whether there's custom launch data and then filling in the custom launch data from there. So it could be, that CEO message. It could be the logo of the company. Really, anything you want to pass into the course, you can do that. And another cool use case is you can actually pass HTML through there. So if you have a page that you want to include links or any kind of like embedded resources, file shares or anything like that, uh, you can get real wild and even put iframes in there or whatever like that. You can pass HTML and have the HTML go into the course and be kind of like another embedded page inside the course if you wanted to. So the account level, so CLD, custom launch date, would need to work on different accounts. Yes. So you would have to do it for each account for it to, there's no apply to all accounts or anything like that. So it's very, very much by account. So Nick pinned in the chat the page here using custom launch data on the SCORM website. All right. So any other questions? So for someone wanting to start using custom launch data who hasn't before, I would recommend going into custom launch data, this article, read this, play around with it in Content Controller, use ChatGPT to digest this page, and then show you how to put your stuff into Storyline or Captivate, any authoring tool that lets you put JavaScript in the course and then see what you get down, and then start playing around with assigning it to variables or assigning it to pages. Putting in content into pages via custom launch data. Once you get like the hang of just putting that code uh, right on the first page. Like a good rule of thumb, when you have a articulate project right here, that JavaScript that pulls down custom launch data goes on really the first slide. You want it to, it's a time limited link that you get. So you want to make sure that you pull it down right away. Otherwise, it might time out and then boom, no custom launch data for you in your course if you're planning on using it later on in the course. So it's a thing where you want to really pull it down on the first slide, set some variables associated with it, uh, anything like that. So I have, a lot of triggers in here. When custom launch data is loaded, I have this set state of next slide button to normal. So this is hidden at the beginning, but then when custom launch data gets loaded, it appears. So that way you're not going through to the course too early without that data there. All right. So if there's no other questions, I think we can give 15 minutes back to everybody. Any questions about custom launch data that you have? I'm around on chat. I'm happy to answer anything, give any tips around using this feature. Again, this is a feature I'm very passionate about in Content Controller. I love it. It's really helped me, in a previous life about distributing courses to lots of customers, different customers using this. So it's a really, really cool feature. So I hope you really check it out. So thank you, everybody.